Namaste. Welcome to this class, which is part of a sequence of sessions looking at back pain, discomfort, and strengthening and stretching, seeing what we can do to improve that. So we're going to focus today on the sacroiliac joint at the base of the spine, this sort of triangular part at the end of the spine, and also the psoas muscles in the front of the hips, both of which are affected by our habit of sitting in this modern age. The muscles here become really short and the sacroiliac joint is torqued under out of its natural position. So we're going to strengthen up those glutes and work a little bit on the core, see what we can do to ease those problems. You'll want to have a strap handy and a yoga block or a book to stand on for later on. So have those to hand. Have your belt on the right hand side of your mat and then come to lying. So if there's any back issues going on, then do take it steady as you lie down. You can come onto your side and then roll onto your back. And before you straighten out the legs, just lift the tailbone, lengthen the hips away. That's going to help lengthen and flatten the back. And then see how it feels to straighten out the legs with the toes dropping apart, palms face up in Shavasana, our classic corpse pose. And if there's immediate discomfort in the back, just like any position or sequence we do, then do come out of it. So perhaps you need to keep the knees bent for this first part. And we're looking for anything that's going on in our back. We're becoming aware of which parts of the back of the body are touching the mat and which parts are away from it. Closing your eyes might help. Noticing the space under the lumbar spine, there's the natural arch of the back, space under the neck, maybe at the back of the knees, under the armpits, back of the ankles, the Achilles, and feeling those parts that are in contact with the floor, softening and broadening, taking our weight. Begin to breathe mindfully, maybe bringing the hands onto the belly if you'd like to. On the inhale, trying to get the belly to rise. And on the exhale, letting it fall. Gently pulling the belly button down towards the floor to flatten the lumbar spine even more. And you can think of the breath as a three-part breath. So the inhale, the tummy rises, the ribs lift out to the side, and the top of the chest, the collarbones lifts. And then everything releases and relaxes on the exhale. So inhaling from the bottom of the lungs, right up to the top, and then noticing everything deflating down again. And on the exhale, I want you to start lifting the pelvic floor and squeezing the bum. Release on the inhale. So the pelvic floor, this web of muscles that goes from side to side underneath the pelvis and from front to back, holding everything in. I'm going to give that a little workout and then let it go. And the glutes, big strong muscles in your bum, give them a good squeeze on the exhale as you take the belly towards the spine. So everything's squeezing in on the exhale and then expanding and softening on the inhale. Lovely. And then bend both knees, take the feet flat on the floor, just the right knee, bend it over your chest, lifting the foot off the floor, maybe linking the hands around the front of the shin and giving it a little squeeze. And we're going to wiggle the toes, flex and point the foot, circle the ankle, getting rid of any little clicks, crunches, And then taking your strap in both hands, find approximately the middle and push up on an exhale, push the ball of your foot up into the belt to take it up towards the sky. And the knee does not have to be straight. If you want to keep a little bend in it, that's fine. Nice, deep, slow breaths here, trying to stretch out as best you can on the exhale. Maybe that means bending and straightening it. And the hands want to be relaxed, so we're not gripping for dear life. We don't want to bring tension into the body where it's not necessary. And let the leg fall back into the hips. So hips are both staying on the ground. And then take both lengths of the strap into your right hand, placing your left hand on your left hip to anchor it there. You're going to inhale with the foot flat up to the ceiling. Exhale, start guiding the foot and the leg out to the right hand side. Inhale it back up again. Exhale it out to the side. Maybe you come a bit wider. Take it to the point where you're feeling a stretch in the groin. And up again. And this third time, staying at your edge, your limit for a breath. Some people the foot could be up in the air, some people it could be down on the floor. Want to feel the sensation of something going on, trying to anchor that left hip on the ground, pressing the left foot into the floor. Inhale to lift the foot up again. Exhale, bend the knee and draw the strap down, the elbow towards the floor, so you're guiding the knee down towards the right armpit. And you might walk the hands up the strap, you might grab the side of your foot or your ankle. Otherwise you can use the belt for a few breaths on the exhale, drawing the knee down. So different ways of opening up the hip here. And then inhale, exhale, stretch up, push the foot back up to the ceiling, swap the hold of the strap into your left hand. Inhale at the top, exhale, gently guide the leg over to the left. So you're crossing the right thigh over the left and feeling a stretch down the back of the left leg. You might not need to go very far in order to feel that. You might need to really do a big deep cross, staying for a breath and then coming back up again. So sole of the foot pushing up into the strap for a last breath and then bending the knee, release the strap and bringing the foot down to the floor. Place the strap on your left hand side. Let's lengthen out the legs if that was okay for you to do so and see how that feels. So notice any differences now between the leg that we've worked and the side that we haven't. Maybe sensations of length or softness or lopsidedness or the muscles working, whatever you find. And then let's do that on the other side. So both feet start flat on the floor. Lift the left knee now over the chest, hug it in, circle, flex, move that foot around. So any little clicks and crackles that you hear, as long as there's no pain associated with that, that's all good. That's releasing the gas that's trapped in the joints. And then take your strap, place the ball of the left foot into it. Inhale as you exhale, pushing the foot up towards the sky. Give yourself a few breaths here to settle into this. So don't expect the leg to straighten straight away, if at all. And make sure you spend some time thinking, release the grip on the belt. Maybe slide the hands down a little. Let that leg be heavy, dropping back into the hip socket. That's where we want it to be working. And then taking both ends of the strap into your left hand. Anchor that right hip on the floor. You can place the right hand there, just keep it there. Inhale with the foot at the top. Exhale, guide it slowly out to the side till you feel some sensation. And then inhale up again. We've got twice more to explore. So maybe your edge increases a little bit with each stretch. Maybe it doesn't. So no particular aim. You don't have to get the foot down to the floor or anywhere near it. Seeing how much that hip wants to open out today without this right hip lifting off the ground. Push down into that right foot. Breathing into wherever you feel the stretch, wherever the sensation is strong. Inhale to lift the foot up again. Exhale, bend the left knee, draw that knee down towards the armpit. So you can walk the hands up the strap. You might grab hold of your foot. You might grab hold of the ankle, or you might keep the strap. As you bend, and then straighten out a little bit the leg. So this is half happy baby pose. We're really working on one hip at a time, getting those hip flexors, strong muscles, getting them to stretch and move a bit. And then taking the foot up, stretch it up towards the sky again. Place the ends of the strap into your right hand. Inhale with the foot here. Exhale, guide the foot across so that the leg crosses over the one with the bent knee. So this time your left thigh is crossed over the right thigh, and you're looking for a stretch down the back or the side of that left leg. Remember softness in the face. Notice if you're gritting your teeth at any point in this class. Inhale the foot up to the sky. Exhale as you bend the knee. Release the strap. We can place that to one side for now. And stretch the legs out. Close the eyes. Come into Shavasana. See how that feels. If you want to, you can hug the knees before you roll onto one side, and using the hands, press yourself slowly up to sitting. Always let the head be the last thing to come up. I'm reaching for your block now. I want you to sit in Baddha Konasana, which is bound angle pose. And this is where you've got the feet, soles of the feet are usually together. Today I want you to put the block or a book in between them if you've got one. And the closer that the heels come to your hips, the more of a stretch you're going to get into those hips. But we don't want it to be agony, and I'd like you to have a nice upright spine. So if you find you're rounding, in order to get those heels closer, take the feet a bit further away. See if you can get lovely length in the spine, reaching up through the crown of the head, resting your hands on the shins or ankles if that's comfortable for you. A little flutter of the knees. And then bringing them to stillness. Every exhale, we're going to squeeze the feet into the block. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze the feet, squeeze the bum. And inhale, release. Exhale, push the feet together, squeeze the bum, and lift the pelvic floor. You might feel the tummy automatically going in. That's the final part. So squeezing the block, squeezing the buttocks, lifting the pelvic floor, and the tummy drawn back towards the spine. All of these muscles around the spine engaging and then releasing. 3 more times. Trying to keep that lift in the spine. Notice if you have a tendency to round or maybe sway the back. We want nice long spine as best you can. Last one, real intense, hard work. Good. And then you can put the block aside, swing the legs around and come to kneeling. On all fours in tabletop pose, or if your forearms don't like this position, if your wrists don't like this position, come to forearms. So you can work like this. And to start with, we're going to take the foot out behind us. So I want you to take just your right foot out behind you. If I turn this way, you can see better. And flex the toes on the floor, push into the floor and take the heel back, as well as extending the crown of the head forwards. You get lovely long stretch in the back. Breathing here. And I'm going to swoop the leg around. So inhale as you are, exhale, swoop the foot and look over your left shoulder. See if you can see the foot appear. If not, look in the direction that it would be appearing. And you get this side bend, this C curve in the spine. Breathing into that. And anywhere that you're feeling the stretch, maybe the glutes turn on. Who knows? And inhale to finish. Exhale, sweep the foot around again. This time all the way out to the side. So you want the foot to be coming out sideways from the hip. If that's uncomfortable, try it a little further back. If you're not feeling any sensation of stretch, try it a little further forward. And the idea is to place the foot on the ground, the outside edge of the foot pushing down, and you might feel something in the hip. Don't worry if you don't just now. We've got more to come. So this left knee you want underneath the left hip. And again, you could be on forearms instead of your hands if you prefer. We're going to do cat-cow stretch from here. So nice long spine and neck. Reach out through the crown of the head and backwards out through the bottom of the hips, the sitting bones. And as you exhale, round the back, drop the head. Inhale, tilt the pelvis forward, lift the heart, lift the head for your cow. Exhale, cat stretch. Inhale, cow. Couple more times, nice and mindful, really listening to any feedback that your body is giving you. Never go into pain. A little stretch, a little discomfort is fine, but never pain. Good. And then sweeping the toes behind you. You can either keep the toes touching the floor or you can lift the foot now to hip height. And we're going to do a balance and a little tiger curl. So perhaps you walk the left fingers forward. Perhaps you lift the hand off of the floor, either thumb pointing up to the ceiling or palm down, whichever makes you feel more stable. Hug in around the belly, a little bit of contraction in the glutes, that pelvic floor lifts, it'll help with your balance. And you can stay here, or we're going to work dynamically. Inhale, lengthening out. Exhale, bringing the knee and or elbow underneath, rounding the back, nose comes towards the knee as well. So lengthening out on the inhale, tucking everything under on the exhale. One more time, moving slowly and mindfully. We'll make sure you're turning on all of those muscles. Good stuff. Bringing the hands and knee down when you've finished. And your choice, you can stay and rock the hips here in kneeling. You might want to sink back to child pose and round the back. You might need to move in some other way to release the work, the effort, before we do it on the other side. So we're going to start stretching back the toes, pushing through that back heel and reaching through the crown of the head to get length in the body. And then we're going to sweep the leg behind us. So inhaling here. As you exhale, take the foot in a lovely arc. Look over to your left-hand side. See if you can see the foot or where it would appear. Breathe into the left side of the body, but also try not to crunch the right side up. So getting some nice length along the spine all the time is going to help that. Big breaths. Inhale, and on the exhale, make a lovely big arc to bring the foot all the way around to the side. I'm going to turn, you don't need to, and find where the foot wants to settle. Again, bring it forwards or back at the side of your mat will make a difference to how the muscles feel, how much stretch is going on. As best you can, you want the toes pointing forward, side of the foot pushing outwards down into the floor. And then we'll do our cat-cow. So nice long neck, gaze is in front of the mat. Inhale to start. Exhale, round the back. Drop the head. As you inhale, pelvis tilts forward, heart lifts, and the gaze lifts. Exhale, cat stretch. Inhale, cow. One more. Good. And then bringing that to stillness, inhale. On the exhale, sweep the left foot round behind you. And you can choose to stay like that. Then you might want to walk the opposite hand out. So you've got this lovely diagonal stretch. And you can move dynamically like that. Or you can lift the foot or the hand. So lots of options. Make this work for you. And if you've got the foot lifted, just be cautious. The toes will want to turn out to the side a little. So really internally rotate the thigh consciously, and that'll get those toes pointing down to the floor. Keep the foot flexed. Inhale, lovely length in the body. Exhale, drawing knee and elbow underneath, rounding the spine, drawing in the chin, nose pointing towards that knee. Inhale, opening. Exhale, tucking under and closing. One more, trying to keep these hips nice and level. The more control and the more slowly you try to move, then the more work the muscles are getting. And when you're ready, coming back to all fours. Again, you choose what you want to do. You might want to circle those wrists, wriggle the fingers. It might be nice to sink back into child's pose. And next we're going to come into a low lunge. You're welcome to do this from kneeling, lifting the right foot forward, or if you fancy it, you can take downward facing dog. So hands a little in front of the shoulders, tucking the toes. As you exhale, taking the hips back, nice length in the spine. And then it's the right foot we want to bring forwards first of all. So you can do this from kneeling, shuffle, lift, get your right foot between the hands and that left knee dropped on the floor. You're welcome to keep your toes tucked if that helps you feel stable, or flatten the foot out on the floor. We want to make sure that we've got this right knee over the right ankle and then come up into proposal pose. Tuck the tailbone down, draw the tummy back, squeeze the glutes. This keeps us nice and stable, nice long spine. Lovely. And then keeping the left hand on the knee for now. Inhale, lifting the right hand up. Find length all along that side. Inhaling here. Exhale into a side stretch. So over you go to the left, reaching up through the top fingers. And you might want to lift now your left hand to clasp around your right wrist and gently encourage that stretch. And really keeping your stability, push down into that front foot. Everything is turned on, so you'll feel the glutes, the pelvic floor lift, the tummy muscles, side waist, coming up and placing the hands on the floor again, either side of that front foot. You can transition back to kneeling or step back to downward facing dog, whichever works for you. And then preparing to do the same on the other side. So first of all, we need to get that left foot forward. Maybe you're lifting the foot, swinging the leg through, however you get there. We're coming into this proposal position with the left knee directly over the left ankle and then climbing up into making a proposal. And if you feel wobbly, if you heel toe that front foot out to the side, the more distance you've got between the two feet, the legs, the more stable you're going to feel. So first of all, the left arm is going to lift up, reaching the fingertips to the sky, push down into that left foot. Inhale, and on the exhale, over you come into the side stretch, letting the head be heavy, breathing into the left side of the body. You can stay here if you want to, lifting the right hand, finding the left wrist, and encouraging those left fingers to reach even further. Opening up through the side body. Trying to keep nice and stable and straight in the lower body. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, bringing the hands down. Once again here, you're welcome to step back into down dog or into kneeling. So you could sway the hips, you could come to child pose, or you could lift into down dog and have a lovely stretch out of the spine in that way. Walking out the legs, bending one knee then the other, reaching alternate heels down to the floor. And we're all going to come together in a forward fold. So making your way to the front of your mat into a forward fold. Letting the head dangle down, little shake, little nod. Unless you've got anything going on, blood pressure or anything with your eyes, in which case you want to keep up more in a half forward fold, really letting go. And easing ourselves into a little hamstring stretch, hands coming to the shins or thighs, bend the knees, inhale, and lift the hips to straighten the legs, exhale. Twice more. Releasing and stretching. Let's stretch beyond the exhale, not forcing it, seeing how your back feels. If there's pulling here, then you need to keep the knees more bent. And we're going to rise up. Press down into the floor. Hands can come to the hips or maybe launch out to the side like aeroplane wings. And the legs are doing the work. So push down through the legs, lifting up the torso and the head floats up. You can lift the arms if you want to. Coming into Tadasana, our mountain pose. Taking a moment here to establish yourself in this upright position. And breathe. Letting the weight drop down into your feet. Little micro bend behind the knees. That tailbone is down nice and long. A little bit of engagement around the tummy, glutes. Roll the shoulders back and down. Lift up through the soft palate, up through the crown of your head. Great. And for the next part of our sequence, I'd like you to take a block or a book to stand on. You might want 2 blocks to make it even more stable. Perhaps If your feet don't feel like they fit on one block comfortably, then get two together or two bigger blocks, something to stand on where we can lift our foot off the ground. And I want you to start with the left foot on the block and the right foot next to it on the floor. So bend the left knee. Okay, so this sequence is about strengthening the glutes, working the muscles around there. And again, do it slowly, do it mindfully to get the work. You could do these movements swinging around nice and quick, and it won't do you a bit of good. Hands can either be wherever they want to be to balance you or on the hips. Press down into that left foot. Inhale and lift the right foot off the floor. Exhale down again. As you're lifting up, use the glutes. Bending that knee to bring it down again. Grab your strap and come to standing. So we're going to do a balance. If you know that balance might be tricky for you, please have a chair or come to the wall. And we'll be standing on the left foot first of all. So you want maybe the left hand reaching out to something. And You don't have to use a strap. I'm going to show you the options that we're going to do here, but it might be handy to extend those arms and stop you again rounding or swaying the back in order to get into the position. So start with the feet hip width apart, nice and stable and tall. Press down into the left foot, little micro bend in the left knee, and start lifting the right knee forward. Flexing that foot, that usually helps me with my balance. And we want the knee to go forwards, not out to the side. Maybe you can interlace the fingers around the shin, or you can draw the belt around the shin to hold it there. And you can stay like this for the next few breaths. Or, just for a challenge, you might want to loop the belt around the ball of your foot and stretch the leg out in front. Now the challenge here is to keep the back straight and long as best you can. So that leg doesn't have to be completely straight, but the back, think, can I lengthen up through the crown of my head? Pressing down through that foot, releasing when you're ready, bringing the foot down to the floor. Did you carry on breathing? Were you holding your breath? Let's swap sides, see how this one goes. So pressing down into your right foot. You might want to swap around if you've got the support of something nearby. When you're ready, when you've got your dristi, little micro bend in the right knee as you lift the left knee forward and up. Okay, and this could be at any height. Some people might be just off the ground. Some people are going to have the foot up in midair. Again, you can link the hands around the shin, or you can take a strap. And having that resistance to draw yourself up nice and tall. Staying with this, or lengthening the strap, pushing into the ball of the foot, and taking the leg out ahead of you. Notice what's happening in the hips, in the lumbar spine. And the shoulders, you rounding your shoulders, you drawing them back and down, lifting up through the crown of the head, breathing freely and easily. When you're ready, slowly bending, releasing that leg, and coming back to standing. You can let go of the strap, come to Tadasana, maybe close your eyes for a few breaths, and feel the work on your legs. And then I want you to take a turn to your left on your mat. Take a nice big wide stride, ready for your warriors. So we're going to do warrior 2 first. I'd like you to put your hands on your hips and check that the elbows are going out to the front and the back of your mat, and the hips are facing the side, okay, the long edge of your mat. You want to, as best you can, keep that position. So turn your right toes out now, 90 degrees, and bring the left toes in a little, or keep them at 90 degrees if that's comfortable for you. If you feel wobbly, heel toe that front foot out more to the side. So as best you can, those elbows still pointing front and back. The hips are facing the long edge of the mat. Let's inhale, lift the arms up, and as you exhale, bend the right knee, and arms shoulder height, come into warrior 2. Breathing here. Now let's think about what's happening in your back. So warriors are a gentle back bend. We want to tuck the tailbone under, lift the belly, press into the outside of that back foot. Let the shoulders release and relax. Keep the breath going. Maybe sinking the hips down a little more. Maybe you have to wiggle the front foot forward if you're going to do that. And then we're going to transition from here into a high lunge. So I want you to take the hands back to the hips if they're not there already. And think, right, elbows are pointing front and back. I'm going to transition to side and let that back toes, let the back heel lift off the floor so the toes are now pointing forward. as you come into a high lunge. Notice the glute fire up. Where does that feel different? Can you still lift the tummy, tuck the tailbone? And maybe if you want to, you can lift the hands here. That doesn't aggravate the spine. Nice, deep, slow breaths. And then we're going to push off with that back foot to come to standing at the front of our mat. Coming back to Tadasana, taking a couple of breaths here before you turn to the right and set yourself up for the other side. So feet are starting parallel to each other, outside edges parallel, hands on hips, and then turn the left toes to the front of your mat. I'll go the other way so I stay facing you. Adjust that back foot so you're in your warrior stance. Make sure the hips don't turn, they're sideways for warrior two. Inhale, lifting the arms. Exhale, coming into your warrior, looking down that left arm now, down that middle finger and beyond. Can you press into the outside edge of the back foot? Feel how that turns on the muscles in the leg, the glute. The hips are opening softly, so a little pulse will help them do that. Tummy is lifted, don't lose that engagement. Pelvic floor is lifted, and yet there's softness, so the shoulders are relaxed, the breath is free. And we're going to transition from here to our high lunge. So notice the difference. First of all, hands to hips, elbows front to back, and then we're turning around to the front. Let that back foot be free. If you feel wobbly, heel toe, the front foot out more to the side. And now, can you find that engagement again? It's the pelvis in neutral. Have you allowed the back bend to come a little too deep into the back? So tailbone down to the floor, tummy drawn up and in, belly button towards the spine. If you want to, you can lift the hands. And don't let that poof out the ribs here in the tummy. Keep them tucked in. Chin is level with the ground. And then ready for a push off with the back foot, bringing yourself to the front of your mat. Come into Tadasana and breathe. Again, closing your eyes or soft focus down at the floor is lovely in between these poses to take stock and let the work integrate, soak it in. So we're going to come from standing all the way back down to lying on the floor. I would suggest while you're still upright, if you want to gather anything you might need for relaxation a little later on, any extra layers or socks or a blanket under your head, get them ready now. And you can travel down in any way that you wish to, or you can follow me. So I'm going to bring my hands to the heart and I'm going to come into a forward fold. So I'm going to lift the arms up. And you can take the hands down the center or you can swan dive out, taking the hands out to the side. Just watch how that is on the back. It gives extra work into the back. I'm going to pause halfway, nice flat long spine, and then continue my descent, bending the knees when I feel the back pulling. Coming down into a nice relaxed forward fold with bent knees. So you could come into a toe balance here, you could come to kneeling, you might even come through a squat. There's an extra little treat for a hip opener on the way down. High or low, making your way slowly and gently down to the floor. Remember lying on your side and then rolling over if there's anything going on in your back that doesn't feel quite right. And laying here with feet flat on the floor, knees bent, I'm going to encourage you to lift the hips, tuck the tailbone, lift the hips just a little, lengthen them away from the shoulders and place them back onto the mat to get that lovely length in the spine. And hands can rest on the hips or down by the floor. Next thing we're going to do is reverse pigeon. I encourage you to take it one stage at a time. Any aggravation or sharp pains, then please go back to one of the earlier options as I offer them. So we're going to start with the right leg. Draw the right knee towards you, maybe a little squeeze into the chest, and take that right ankle up onto the left thigh, high up near the knee, and let that right knee drop away from you. So making a figure 4 with the legs. And you can stay like this and breathe. Each exhale, trying to think that right knee reaching away from the hip. If you want more sensation, you can lift the left foot off the floor. This brings the legs closer to you. So more going on now in that hip joint. And if you had your belt nearby, you could loop your belt around the back of your thigh, or you could link your fingers around it. And experiment with keeping both feet flexed. That really engages all of the muscles in the legs. You'll get more work. But check that no tension has come into the jaw, the shoulders. If you're lifting the head in order to do this, then drop the foot back down to the floor and continue to work there. If you're not feeling any stretch much at all, then try linking your fingers around the shin instead of the back of the thigh. All the time use the exhale to draw the legs closer and make it work for you. Then gently, when you're ready, dropping the left foot onto the floor. Keep the right foot up on the knee and slide the left foot away from you. So we're straightening out the left foot, and you'll end up now with the right knee dropped out to the side. Take the foot onto the mat next to the left leg. So we're in a supine tree position. And trying to keep both of the backs of the hips on the floor, encouraging this knee to drop out to the side. If it doesn't come to the floor, which it may well not, then maybe pop a cushion, some blocks or a bolster underneath it, and let it gradually open. This is something that can be done again and again over time to let gravity open up the hips. Left toes are flexed towards you, and the foot is pushing away like you were standing on the ground. You can take your hands to your hips, or maybe you want to reach them over your head for a full body stretch. And when you're ready to come out, use the right hand to lift the right thigh. Guide that knee up to the sky and place both feet flat on the floor again. Adjust the hips and shoulders if you feel you'll benefit from that before we do the other side. Lifting the left knee then. Left foot off the floor. Squeeze that left knee in towards you and guide the left foot ankle to rest on the right thigh up near the knee. And even if you know you're going to go deeper, take a couple of breaths here. Let that left knee fall away from the hip, opening out. So nice stretch into the groin. full body stretch there if you're going to do that. And then using the left hand under the left thigh, guide that knee back up to point towards the ceiling. Bend both knees here. And you might want a little hug of the knees over the chest, but we're going to do windscreen wipers. So I want the feet flat on the floor, about as wide as your mat, so quite wide. And again, hands resting wherever they're comfortable. Let the knees drop slowly from side to side. So one knee ends up pointing towards the opposite ankle or foot. And then when you're next over that way, let the knees drop to the right and stay there. And feel how this gentle twist might stretch out the back. How does it feel on one thigh compared to the other? So one is adducting, one is abducting. We're moving them in different directions. You might want to close your eyes. Again, don't be scared to pad up that bottom leg with a block or a bolster or anything you want to support it as we breathe deeply. Drawing the belly button down towards the spine. Inhale, lifting the knees up. Exhale, slowly releasing the knees over to the left. Noticing how it feels on this side. Maybe one side it will feel that the hip lifts up off the floor more than the other side. We often have one side tighter than the other. Allow the breath to guide you. Think of sending that breath out to the areas where there's a little pulling, a little resistance. Think I'm breathing in space and breathing out any tension, and letting go a little more. Again, belly towards the spine, little engagement in the glutes and the pelvic floor as you inhale and lift the knees up towards the sky. And now make yourself comfortable for relaxation. Whether for you that means lengthening the legs out long, coming to corpse pose, Shavasana, with the palms face up to the sky. A little wriggle to get yourself in line. If you decide that's not comfortable for you, perhaps try keeping the knees bent, letting the knees drop together with the feet wider apart, so there's no effort in staying here in constructive rest pose. Maybe the hands want to rest on the hips or belly instead. Please find an alternative if lying on your back is not going to be comfortable for you for the next few minutes. Allow the eyes to close and the jaw to be soft. Again, you might want to lift the hips off the ground, lengthen the spine away, really letting the hips melt outwards, soften down into the ground. So feel the pelvis is heavy and spreading. Same with the shoulders, let them melt back down, away from the ears. Think of your collarbones widening away from each other. The limbs are heavy, fingers and toes are released and relaxed. Bring your attention to your breath. With each exhale, feeling the body drop down and let go into the ground. Belly softly rising with the inhale, falling with the exhale. And imagine your spine through the center of your torso. I want you to picture it like a long blade of grass being gently blown by the breeze, swaying one side and then the other and back again. Soft, warm, gentle breeze. Imagining this and bringing it into your physicality so that your spine gently, slowly starts to sway. It doesn't have to be a big movement. It might be barely perceptible from somebody looking at you. There's a sense of freedom and release in the spine as it's waving gently, the sun shining down on it, bringing that movement towards stillness, making the movements more and more subtle, so that all that remains is a sensation of the spine swaying from side to side. Free and easy, released and relaxed, in the warm breeze. Slowly letting go of that image. Take 3 nice deep breaths, inhaling through the nose, maybe sighing out through the mouth. And stretching out through the limbs, maybe beginning to wiggle fingers and toes, circling wrists. Perhaps the head sways from side to side. You might want a full body stretch, or you might want to lift one knee and then the other over the chest for a hug, a rock from side to side, whatever feels good. Slowly making your way onto your side and resting there with bent knees. Gently pressing yourself up to sitting. Use the hands, draw the belly towards the spine. Let the head be the last thing to come up. And then in a comfortable seated position, bringing your hands to the heart, and we're taking Om Shanti 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 chant. Lifting the hands and the arms out to the side and up. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lovely deep breath in and a bow on the exhale. Bowing to yourself, your practice, that focus today on supporting the spine. May you have peace in your mind, in your words, in your heart. Namaste.